Board in the Londonderry School District. Today, Tuesday, November the 18th, 7 o'clock p.m. Please rise. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good evening. We've got a few terrific things going on here tonight, so I'm going to ask if there's any general public comment. We'll start with that. The one night I ask. Why do I get the feeling I may regret this? Hi, Zach.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to inform the board and the public that good news, Mary Colton, assistant principal at North School, has been selected as a finalist in the NHASP Assistant Principal of the Year program. And we're very honored. Mary's a fabulous assistant principal and has been that way for about 13 years now in the Londonderry School District. And as part of the program, we will be having a site visit on Wednesday, December 10th. From 1 to 3 p.m., and I'm putting together some constituent groups, students, parents, community members, district office staff, etc. So that'll take place on December 10th, and then I will update the board shortly after. I just want to let everybody know.
Well,
thank you.
Congratulations to Mary, and we wish her, obviously, the best of luck,
Yep.
and I think those of us that can be there will be.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Yes, Nate.
Two other good news kinds of things.
Rich, could you stay there a sec?
On December 9th, there's going to be a celebrating leadership and education evening. And as the board is aware, Pauline Pichette, who is our art teacher at Matthew Thornton and was a finalist for the 2009 Teacher of the Year, will be one of the individuals honored. And we would just want to once again say congratulate Pauline for being a finalist for Teacher of the Year. You know, our opinion is that she should have gotten it. We'll celebrate her anyways. And one other thing I think is worthy of note, Flora Sapson, who is our Latin teacher at the high school and also runs our student council, was named State Field Director for the Horatio Alger Association. This is an association that sponsors scholarships for students that have had difficulties, have overcome difficulties in their lives. Examples that were given were both parents being incarcerated or kids who have overcome addictions to drugs or alcohol, who have struggled with personal disabilities.
Speaking Latin.
Speaking Latin could be considered a disability too. Flora is the first one in the state of New Hampshire, and so she's going to be the field director. And for the first time, starting not this school year, but for next school year, she'll be directing this program, so students in the state of New Hampshire will have an opportunity to apply for these scholarships. So we just wanted to get the word out, and we're also very proud of Flora being selected, and it just goes to show this is another faculty member who not only contributes to the well-being and the education of our students, but also has an impact on the state level. So we want to congratulate Flora for that.
Thanks, Nate, and congratulations, Flora. So pass that on wherever. I thought I saw Jay earlier. I don't know. That areas. John.
While Rich is here, can I ask a question?
You kind of just did.
Rich.
Oh, of Rich, yes.
Yes.
Please.
Hey, Rich. Looking at the back of the Good News Bear, I noticed interesting order form kind of thing. You familiar with this? Can you say what that's about?
Can you read that, what that form is?
Excuse me?
Tell me what that form is. I didn't see that.
Yeah, this is family order form.
It's a font size of 3.
Oh, who could read this?
3 points.
It looks like a heck of a fundraising opportunity, and I was just trying to promote an opportunity to make more people aware of it here.
I believe these are cards that you can buy that for families. For example, if you bought a card to Applebee's or to a specific business, whatever, then the school would receive a percentage of the sales for that. So basically what we're doing is we're providing families with opportunities to get presents, Christmas presents, whether they be cards, what have you, to a variety of businesses, restaurants, what have you. And then the school would receive funds for that.
So the way it looked to me was you go buy things that you might be buying anyway.
That's
and
correct.
if you do it through this channel,
Yes.
then the school gets some
Yep.
change from it.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
That's a heck of an idea. Is that limited to North School parents, or can anybody do it?
No, I can give information out from my PTA presidents. We have a couple of parents that have organized this, so I will certainly look into that. And
Just ideas, Mr. Chairman. Ideas like this are just so fabulous. I
They are.
just like to draw attention to them when we
I
can.
appreciate that, John.
thank you,
for
John. I
catching that.
appreciate it.
George,
That's great.
One more item. I have a gift for the board members from Andy Susi. New Hampshire Magazine puts out an edition, Meet the 28 People Who Make It Happen list. And we don't have a person, we have an entire band that made the it list. And Andy was kind enough to mark where it is, but
Thank you.
we thought this was very nice, and Andy wanted to share that magazine with you. And you can also check out restaurants too, because evidently it's the restaurant issue.
Oh, good Lord.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's wonderful.
Thanks, Steve. Did you wanna- Okay. All right, anything else? I'm probably sorry I asked that. No, okay.
Not a town council meeting.
The first item up is the recycling presentation by our AP Environmental Studies students. So it's all yours. Pull up a chair, just speak into the microphone, just give us your first name, and we're all set.
Matt. Tyler.
Tyler?
James.
James?
And I'm Molly.
Hi, Molly.
We started this program.
Can you move a little closer to the mic? And it's not so much for us, it's for all the engaged people at home who are just waiting on every word we're about to say.
And the ones who are just going steady.
Once it's going steady.
If you guys in the back row want to speak, you can grab that portable mic too.
Yep, this one works. Richard's back there
Super.
making sure
Thank
it
you.
all works.
So yeah, we started the program pretty much just because we knew that there wasn't much of a recycling program at the high school, and we wanted to change it. We wanted to do something about it. So we began finding ways and talking about recycling bottles and cans, as well as actually recycling the paper, because we had paper recycling bins, and we thought they were getting recycled, but come to find out they're actually just getting thrown in the trash. So kind of a little bit disappointing. And we worked with Mr. Parent on that, and who's definitely on board, and working with custodians, and work with Stonyfield, who I did an internship for through the Academy of Finance, and Miss Esterly, and I had a great internship all summer, and come to find out, I actually got the idea from them at the Stonyfield plant that all the offices, they have recycle bins that are recycled 5-gallon pails, which we have one over there. So some of their ingredients come in there, and I talked to them, and they donated 150
Wow.
cover every single classroom in the school.
Great.
So we cleaned them and took some of the other stickers off them, and now every classroom and office in the school has one for recycling bottles and cans.
That's great.
And, yeah, that's pretty much our main goal, and it's taken us 2 months, and we've got to it. So that's just kind of the first step. And
So what are the next steps? What do you think you're going to do next, if that's the first step?
We're looking to go to the other schools with this. I mean, 2 months to cover the high school is actually pretty fast, and we can still get the buckets. So we're looking to go into the other schools. We have to get on board with the faculty and the custodial staffs, because if the buckets just get emptied in the trash, it doesn't accomplish anything. We need to get on board. So we're looking to meet with the other schools and start getting buckets and going to the other schools.
pretty much our whole concept behind it
is having the white buckets and the blue buckets and people recognizing the uniformity of that. So when people see the white buckets, they know to put the bottles in the white buckets and the blue buckets
Buckets for paper.
for paper. And so,
We want to get that, make sure it's throughout the whole district, so kids see it in elementary school. Automatically they look for a recycle bin. They automatically, don't just go right to the trash. They have to, look and know that there's going to be one there. A recycle bin for paper and a recycle bin for bottles. And then through elementary schools and then through the middle school. And then they come into the high school and just continue it, and that'd be second nature. So it's really a whole cultural change thing. That,
Great.
you got to change the way people think about, trash and throwing away their waste. And it's really simple, just we got to put the materials out there for them to.
Now, you're going to be, as time goes on, are you going to be keeping track of,
Yep.
I don't know how you do it, weight or?
Yeah, we're beginning to weigh them in the cafeteria on a daily basis, and we found that in the cafeteria alone, we collect about 70 pounds of plastic a week.
It's pretty unbelievable, isn't it?
And these buckets fill up every 2 days.
Wow.
In 150 classrooms, 2 days they need to be emptied. So you really never think the amount of bottles that are in the school, but
No,
people
you don't
bring it
until you
home.
start. Yep.
We're working with Mr. Parent and the custodial staff to figure out how many bottles and cans we're putting into the vending machines, how many go into the school store, how many are sold at lunches. And our ultimate goal for the end of the year is we want to recycle 100% of all the bottles that we put in. We want to find the weight of that, those bottles. We want to make sure that they're going back to be reused in the system and be recycled.
That's great. 100% is a very lofty
100%.
goal.
Yeah, I mean, it is big, but ideally you can get more than 100% because people bring stuff from home and other things like that, so. But it's out there and we're going to try to get to it.
Fantastic.
I'd say that's actually pretty close to possible just from the student standpoint. I mean, people actually make a conscious effort to, if you accidentally throw a bottle in the trash, reach out and put it in the recycling bin. They're right next to each other. And, I mean, I've seen a lot of classrooms where I'll walk in and they'll be empty the day before, and by like halfway through the day, they'll be full.
Wow.
And I think it's everyone, a lot of people are on board with it. I'd say most of my teachers, they know what the buckets are for, they know how to use them. And the idea that we've talked to the custodial staff and we know that they're going to where they need to be, not just dumped into the trash, has reinforced that people want to do it. Because, I mean, if it doesn't matter where it's going in the end, people don't care. But when they know it's going to the right spot, they take the effort and the time to just think about it.
Also, just a little background information. This all started through our wonderful teacher, Mr. Nee. He brought it to our attention, and we immediately wanted to do something about it. And just so you know, it's not just us four doing all of this work. We have recycling club meetings every Wednesday. Well, they were called recycling club meetings. They quickly evolved into eco-sense club meetings because we want to eventually do more than just recycling. But we do have a really good group of about 10 to 15 students who come every Wednesday, and they helped us to put all the buckets together, tape the labels on, and bring them to every classroom. So it's a school effort, and we've really done a great job with all the help. It was very much needed.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board? Yeah, Ben.
This is an AP class.
Yes,
Yes.
Are you guys game for a couple of questions?
sure.
All right. Why are you doing this? Why does this make sense? I mean, obviously, recycling intuitively makes sense, but have you taken it on face value that this is net economic benefit?
Sure.
Have you done any research?
Definitely. Yeah, because the school pays for the waste management to take away trash. We're saving pounds and pounds of plastic, that goes into the landfill that we have to pay for. And also for the bigger scope of it, New Hampshire's landfills, there's no more being built, ever. There's not going to be another landfill built in the state of New Hampshire. So once the ones we have fill up, we're going to have to pay to ship it to states. The two closest states are Ohio and Montana. or we have to incinerate them, incinerate the garbage. So that's a, pretty big, if we're continuously adding more bottles and plastic that aren't going to biodegrade, these landfills are going to fill up and cost the state a lot of money.
So as a part of your classwork, did you do that analysis? I mean, study the tipping fees and learn about,
We
or are you
went
taking
to
this on
the
face value?
Solid Waste Advisory Committee, where we met Steve Young, and so they're in charge of all the recycling for the town, and we got a little bit more information about that. But pretty much just kind of our own research on our own, and with the help of talking about it in class and things like that.
Okay.
So, anything like that?
Yep, go ahead.
Just a couple of things. I was lucky enough to have wandered into a solid waste committee meeting, and under the category of things happen for a reason, I was there for another reason, and had an opportunity to hear you speak there, and I was extremely impressed. And you talked about the ability to spread this even further, although you had only been at it for a few months. A couple of items here. First of all, I'd like you to talk about the significance of the fact that liner in the can is clear. And also, we do have in the room tonight administrators from every school, from all 3 elementary schools. I don't see Bonnie from Moose Hill, but I see the middle school. So if you want to make that plea, I think this would be a good opportunity to make that.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking as the liners, we want to put clear liners to show almost like a cleanness into all the buckets. We saw one with black, and it really just ends up looking like a trash barrel, but the clear liners make it look like a recycling bin.
Yeah, I mean, there have been studies showing that it's really strange how the human mind works, that when you see something that's black in just a black bag, you throw it in, you can't see it, it just kind of goes away. But if it's clear, you can clearly see that, what's going in it, and people know that distinction, that black is trash and clear is going to be recycled, or it's not trash, it's something a little bit different. So it's really strange how the human mind works that way, but it's really a good marketing tool to pick up on that. And we definitely need to go with that, because the custodians, they wanted us to put the black bags in it, and we said no, it's not going to work, it just won't work. We had a little bit of trouble with that, and we went with the clear, bought some clear bags, and it really does subconsciously, it helps.
We're keeping this consistency. Also in the cafeterias, the recycling bins are clear. I mean, some of them are just a blue top and then a bag that drapes down, a clear bag, so you can see the recycled bottles that are in there, and it makes you think, that I'm not going to throw away waste in here. I'm going to throw recycling. When you can see what's already in there, you take an effort, whereas a garbage can just is a pit, and people just tend to throw whatever in there. So if you can see what's supposed to go in, you tend to put what's supposed to go in.
Yeah, we've seen that at Old Home Days. And if the chairman doesn't mind, I'd just like to ask the administrators to introduce themselves.
Sure.
Linda Boyd, South School. Carol Mack, Matthew Cook School.
Richie Gilly, North School, Moose Hill School.
Amy Corey, middle school.
Yeah, Mr. Parent.
So there's your target.
To you guys, to the principals of the other schools, I think it's really important that, like I was saying before, that we really need to start when the kids are in elementary school and middle school, and they need to see the white buckets. It's a little bit ambitious to say that we're going to get every class from the whole district with a white bucket, but at least to start out with maybe 10 or 15 to put in the faculty rooms or put in a lobby area or a main office, so the kids can see it. And the clear streams that we have in the cafeteria, and then the school or the town uses for Old Home Days, those seem to work very well. And we've been doing some fundraising and buy some for you guys to to match up for every trash barrel there is in the cafeteria. We want to put a recycle bin next to it for bottles and cans. And if you guys, are up for that, then definitely willing to do that, to have our students come down or buy you some recycle bins so that the cafeteria at least has more than enough, or, recycle bins.
That would also, we'd have to ask your faculty, because when we started doing this, Mr. Nee would walk around and push the recycling bin around, showing everyone that, can you please recycle, put your bottle in here, put your bottle in here, and it's caught on. So if we were to put the bins in your school, we'd have to ask you to have maybe one faculty during your lunch periods just walk around and pretty much show the bin to all the students. It's kind of tedious, but it gets them visually seeing it, and it really just makes patterns happen.
Ron, you had something?
Yeah. Mark,
In the
can you
schools.
give an assistance to the group also? Because as they said, this is part of an educational process, and you being the chairman, you being the head of the curriculum, seems like a good place to be starting in the science at the elementary levels to talk about the recycling and getting it involved there.
Definitely.
Thanks, Ron. Steve?
There was an interesting, at the, and I see that Paul Margolin's here, the chairman of the Solid Waste Committee. There was an interesting anecdotal story you told about milk cartons at that meeting. I was just wondering if you could tell that for us here.
Go for it.
You know
So,
most about it.
Well, in 6th grade, we used to go to sergeant camp, and they didn't, I don't believe they recycled there, but they taught us a way to fold our milk cartons to take up less space and, start reducing trash or something. But Matt came to find out that we can actually recycle the milk cartons in our, the ones that were used a little, can be recycled in our school district with the recycling plan we have. So they have to be completely empty, but it's one of those things that if we got students to just think about recycling students get milk with almost every lunch, especially in the elementary schools. That's what they give you to drink. So if we got that, that'd be a lot of waste that just now can be transferred into something recyclable.
That, and there's also another thing that I found out was Capri Sun. The little drink pouches. Those can be recycled. And if we collect enough of them, we can actually get paid for them by a company called TerraCycle, and 2 cents a piece for them. So all you have to do is just a Capri Sun pouch. You think of the volume that comes through, the amount of kids that bring pouches and to drink. All you have to be is just recycled and or put in a box and collected, and we can get money for that, and those can be recycled as well. So we're going to try to work on that, getting you maybe a box or another bin container for kids to throw those in as well.
Steve?
Do the milk cartons have to be rinsed? Because we had brought this up at Matthew Thornton, and they said that we couldn't recycle them because they had to be.
They just had to be completely empty. Yeah, they just have to be empty. They don't need to be and flattened. They don't need to be rinsed. I wouldn't leave them around for weeks. But
Tonight's okay.
if they're emptied every day, or if the containers, a plastic bag kind of tied up, something like that, that's fine. Can be done.
Steve?
Just a note, a personal note to you. I mentioned our meeting. I don't think this is a conflict of interest. Stonyfield is a very good customer of my company's. And I mentioned our meeting to them, and they were a bit confused. They continued to question me. They really didn't quite understand that you were a high school student. They thought you were a graduate student. So I appreciate you taking on this leadership position, and I understand you're looking for freshmen and sophomores, those coming up through the ranks, and to kindle those types of leaders, I think, is a great thing.
Yep.
Before they finish up, I wanted them to speak to this.
One last thing, yeah. These posters, there are, I think, 9 posters that are all up around the cafeteria in the school. These were done by the Art Interactive kids, the special ed art students. And one or two of the other students in our environmental science class that, she's not here today, but she's involved with that as a student teacher teaching these special ed kids. one of the projects was they made these posters, and they look, awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
They're put up all over the school, and
Very nice posters.
they
Stonyfield's
really
my customer. You can't take them.
Now it may be a conflict. Sit back and shush.
Yep, the special ed students are also the ones that are picking up these buckets. They volunteered, and as a project that they do is they come around and they pick them up and they empty them into another wheel cart, and they're the ones that empty them out every other day. So they're doing that, the ACT program, special needs kids.
I think one of our big things is we can't just have our group being, tell everyone to recycle. We have to make it so it's available, and we also have to make it so everyone knows about it. Pushing it. We did a little step to just push it outside of the school for, Max Apples puts up the scarecrows, and we went over and put up a scarecrow, and just to get our, our club out and let people know that Londonderry students are going to start recycling, and it's going to be a thing in this town. And we actually came in second, surprisingly, but
Wow.
judging our scarecrow, I don't think it was the best, but I think people like the idea of recycling, and that's why they voted as they did. And I think the town's ready for this, especially the students in this school.
No, I agree with you. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank
so
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You guys are outstanding. And moving along, if the board would indulge me, what I'd like to do is move from the curriculum report 6.1 up to give us the biology pilot update, because these folks have school early tomorrow morning, and we want them to be bright and sharp. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll tell you what. Hey, Bill, can you hang on 1 second? Nancy, you want to come on up? Your turn. No, but Nate's yelling at me.
Yeah. Where are the cookies?
We're at the cookies.
Got them right back here.
Decided cookies were far more important than biology right now. So, Nancy, sit down. Good to see you. Relax. Take a breath. All we wanted was the cookies because we don't like taking them before you get
It's a
here.
little bit early for you guys to have your midnight snack.
Well, we need the sugar rush. And you didn't put them in front of Ronnie when you came in, right?
No, I always
Right.
give them to Peter.
Ah, so that explains it.
Well,
Threw you right under the bus.
he is my
Well, good
supervisor.
evening, Nancy. How are you?
Good evening. I'm well. And
Good.
yourself?
I gotta eat on camera.
Good to see you.
Well, we were very fortunate and probably among the few school districts that actually ended up in a profit last year. We did profit
Fantastic.
$32,000 and have spent, we spent about $36,000 in improvements to the department and ended up with a general balance, a fund balance of just over $112,000. This year, we've already spent about half of that on improvements to South School and a couple of warmers for the Matthew Thornton School that were about 20 years old. So we're improving our department every year, which has been really great. Some of the equipment is very old and needed to be replaced. And so it's been really nice to have the funds to do that. Right now, our meal prices are definitely the lowest in the state. The elementary school lunch is $1.25. Meals at the high school are $1.50 for a regular meal and $1.75 for a premium meal. Premium meal are meals that are just a little bit more expensive for us to produce, and we do not put them on more than 3 days a week, and always have, we never have two premium meals on at the same time, just in case there are money issues with kids and parents and stuff. So we have served a lot of meals over the past couple of years. When I came in to the district in 2005, I inherited a $58,000 deficit and have turned that over to a $112,000 profit, which has really been nice. But as we go through the next couple of years, because of expenses not keeping up with income, I do project that we will start to show some red ink in operations, particularly in operations this year. Although I believe our reserve will still be there. We'll still have some financial stability, but I'm concerned at the end of 2010, that we may lose that financial stability and need to take a look at a price increase. We're not quite sure exactly what or how much. Really like to see how we get through this school year before we really get into dollars and cents. We did do a projection of what a 10-cent, 15-cent, and 25-cent income increase in meals will do to the bottom line for us. And like I said, I think these are just projections now, and those change as we get through the school year. The expenses, when I look at our year end, our expenses were about 5% higher, which is really, I thought it was a minimal, and I think some of that is due to a decrease in meals over the years. We've got a slightly declining enrollment. We're starting to see a slight decline in the number of meals we serve. It's not very many per day. It's about 50 per day, but that adds up to quite a bit at the end of the year. There also has been an increase in the number of free and reduced meals that we serve, and the government has graciously given us 10 cents extra per meal for those meals this year. The student who is considered in the paid category, we received a 1 cent per meal increase for this year. That actually ends up being quite a bit of money because we serve so many paid meals. But you can see by the chart in the report that we've served, the number of free kids have gone up from 142 in '04 to 272 in '08. And reduced kids have increased from 64 to 139 in that same time span, while the eligible paid student has gone from just over 5,000 to just over 4,500. So we've lost about 500 paid students in that time period. And the percentage of free and reduced meals that we've served has gone up from 7% to 9%. You can see also the income eligibility guidelines. I put in the report for a family of 4. You can see the trend there too is that those numbers are going up. They keep raising those numbers, and what we've seen is people have gone from the free category to the reduced category. I spoke with a parent a few years ago who was on a fixed income, Social Security, and had been receiving free meals, and all of a sudden, because his income was fixed, he jumped into the reduced category. And I'm sure we've denied several applications this year based on income, which is the only reason we deny applications, but because the income levels went up and people no longer qualified for the meal plan. So it's kind of hard for those families to deal with that. You got a question?
To that specific item, you might not be the right person to ask, but my guess would be we should be lobbying our congressperson to assist us with that. I mean, if the government, if the creep is causing those on Social Security or disability to have their students be hungry, wouldn't want to ask them to assist us with that?
The poverty, these eligibility guidelines have always been based on the poverty level. 130, I think it's been 135% of poverty for free and 185% of poverty for reduced. And I know that the School Nutrition Association is working on trying to just get more money per meal for all categories, because the reimbursement rates have certainly not kept up with what our expenses have become. And they are lobbying the federal government for more funding and higher reimbursement rates. There are some meals that we serve to children on special diets, which we are required to do, that cost as much as $3.50 a meal. And that's just our cost. That's not even considering the labor that's involved. It's just the meal cost because they're so highly specialized. So we do run into some issues with those sort of specialty things.
I think if you were to structure, it can't be, it couldn't be cell service in this area. If you were to, I'm just completely politically incorrect tonight. If you were to, I guess what I'm asking for is some type of structure or something that, so that we could ask the right questions to petition the government to help with this. It sounds like your association wants more money for each meal.
Right.
I guess what I'm looking for, and I may get to that question this evening, but I've always been interested in an outreach program for Londonderry students. It sounds like, whether we like it or not, we have an outreach program because it's gone from 7% to 9%. If people are falling off because they're $1 or $2 over the limit, that disturbs me. And I just want to make sure that we notify the federal government and our elected officials that, this is a tragedy and that we need to take care of these children. They're the ones that put the advertisements on that say, a child with food in their belly is going to learn better. So put their money where their mouth is.
Nancy, to pick up on what Steve is saying, would it be possible through your state association to get a handle on the number of students that are just falling off of, falling outside of the guidelines, so that there was some data that you could then use, and as a state association, maybe we could contact our representatives to Congress as well as our senators, present that information, and have, through your association, present a proposal for adjusting the guidelines. Because I think that's what Steve is getting at.
Right, yeah, it sounds like,
So instead of just Londonderry and we say there are 10 or 15 kids, I don't think the federal government is going to move too quickly on 10 or 15 kids, but if statewide, just for the sake of argument,
Like
there's
funding.
400 or 500 kids, and if it's in a small state like that in New Hampshire, can you imagine what it's like in the other 49?
right.
So maybe that could be an impetus to do it, but I think what you would need, and you would need your state group to gather that data, would be, here are the number of kids in the state that were recently on free lunch, but because of fixed income, they're now on reduced, okay? Or they were on reduced and now they no longer can qualify for reduced, because either through disability or whatever. And if you take into account the other cost factors that are impacting all families, that we consider this to be something that the federal government should address and should revise the guidelines to allow students like this to still benefit either from a reduced price lunch or a free lunch. So that may be something that your association could do, because they would then, everybody would then have access to the data and then present that information and recommendations to both U.S. representatives and both senators and see where it goes.
One question for you is, do the towns have statistical information on what the average family makes in a town? I mean, do they have it by category?
It's in the census block data.
Yes.
The census block? Because that would be, I think, where we would get a lot of information, except we wouldn't know how many of those had families.
What you would, here's a suggestion I would make. The state recently used a different census data bank to make a determination. It's one of the reasons that we now qualify for Title I and had not qualified for Title I in previous years. Mark can tell you Mark can give you that information, and I will also contact one of the other superintendents, because we had a discussion about this, and get that information and give it to you, and you could give that information to your colleagues.
Right.
And see if you can work off of that. But that has the most updated income census data.
Well, I do a lot of work, and we do a lot of comparing with our co-op group, which now has, I think, 15 or 16 school districts involved. And, we present ourselves as a nice group of strong leaders, and very strong leaders. And it would be good to gather information just from those 16 districts. Start with that.
What you could also do, if you can begin to generate some of that information, there's a superintendent, we have a listserv. So I could get that information out to some of the other
Why don't you
superintendents. And
get that out, and this way Nancy's got what she needs. And Ben, I think you had a question?
Yeah, we may be wandering off point, but I'm developing the impression that we perhaps have students here that are underfed or malnourished or going without lunches because they're just over the threshold for qualifying for this program. Is that the case? Do we have hungry students, kids that don't get meals because they just barely missed the threshold?
In many cases, I don't know, because the income guidelines are available, and the parents figure it out. They know they can't apply. But we do have students that, through one reason or another, the parents don't send in money to the child's account, and then the child gets to limit, our negative balance limit, and we do feed them, but it's not, the regular hot lunch school meal.
Ben, I don't know if we can give you a specific response to your question. I'm aware of maybe one or two people where that's the situation.
I mean, regardless of what the federal government
Right.
does, I can't see that that we couldn't reach out and make
Yeah,
sure that kids
yeah.
are fed to go to school.
The bigger issue that you have at the secondary level is that the kids won't say.
Who cares? I mean,
You know what I mean?
didn't say that, but I
Right.
mean, it's elementary and middle school.
Right. So where we're aware of it, we try to make some accommodations for it.
Okay.
Do we know every case, or do we address every case? I know the principals have some, I don't want to use this term, have some funds that sometimes they will use.
Okay,
for
so
those
we,
kinds of
we are ensuring that, at least at the elementary and middle school levels,
To the best we can.
Okay.
We know, can I say to you 100% with 100%
right,
accuracy? No,
but, the cases that we've identified, though, we've addressed.
this should be.
It's a good question. Thanks, Ben. Steve?
To Ben's point, if a parent is in a situation where they do need to take advantage of this, the way that it works today, unlike when I was young, it's completely, no one's identified.
No one's identified.
The card that they use is the same card that all the students use.
Right.
So there's no vouchers, or there's no little pink slips. So if there are families in the community that need some assistance, and even if they think that they don't deserve it, or if they don't meet the limits, what do they do? Who do they contact?
The application for meals is on our website.
Okay.
All they need to do is fill it out and send it in to me.
So they would go to londonderry.org.
londonderry.org, and click on the food service page, which is in the left-hand column, and
And-
it appears on that page.
And if they didn't have internet service, the phone number they would call?
My phone number in my office, which is at the high school, which is 432-6941, and my extension is 2234.
Thanks.
Yep, go ahead, John.
This is a graceless segue, I know. In the event that you do need to raise prices, you were talking about that being for the school year after this one?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. How early on do you think you could make that determination with certainty? The only reason I'm asking this is so parents would have the most advanced warning possible.
Probably April and May.
Okay. Now, am I reading this correctly? Among the categories that you were looking at, or the potential increases, increments, were 10, 15, and 25%?
25 cents.
Cents. I'm sorry.
Those are just,
Absolutely.
Hypothetical.
you know, if you're looking at increases, it'd be a dime, a quarter, 15
Right.
cents.
Now, at 25 cents, is it safe to multiply that through by 180 days and find a worst-case scenario is that we'd be looking at a increase of maybe $45 over the term of a school year?
I think we have it on one of the pro formas. It shows what what the
there's,
income would
For an
go up.
individual you're talking.
Yeah,
right,
for an
John?
individual.
John's talking for an individual.
Yeah.
Oh, an individual.
If one student were to buy lunch every day of the year, then at 25 cents
25
a day,
cents
that would
times-
soon be $45 a year.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Just not a very big increase. I mean, it can be a big increase, I understand, but in the scope of things, with having been 5 years, did you say?
5 years, yes.
Yeah. If it had to go up and that was the worst-case scenario, there are worse things in the world.
Well, I guess I'm, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I guess I'm at the point is like, I would like to see FY10 stay the same for one more year based on the economic conditions out there, to keep it steady. I think there's some cost savings that we can do in the expense accounts
Yes.
to make that happen, and then look at FY11 as starting an increase, but not completely, but over maybe a 2 or 3 year to get the 25, to get the reserves back
I
where they
thought the
should.
last time we
Said.
talked about it, was like a 10-cent 1 year, 15 cent the
That-
following year.
Yes, I think that would be a good way of going, I think.
Which
That's why we thought-
clearly would be far more affordable. I mean, at 10
That's
cents
why
a
we
year,
thought
it's
we'd come back
$18 a
in
year.
May or April. We would know what the current economy looks like. We would have a better idea on what the finances look like. We'd also have a handle on, as we mentioned, some of the enrollments are going down, so maybe there's some hours.
That can
of
be
labor
saved.
That can be reduced. So all that can come in the mix in April, and then we'll know what's a dime, a nickel, zero, whatever.
I'd appreciate that.
It's a much shorter window of projection than trying to do it now.
And my comments are no reflection on you. I think you've done an outstanding job in the years you've been here running the food program. The food quality has gone up tremendously, and that's just shown by the number of students that have increased over the years to buy food here. So I appreciate all the work that you've done to maintain the cost for 5 years. That's a tremendous compliment to you. The food service program is fully self-funded. There's not a taxpayer dollar that goes into the food service program. And as you said at the beginning here, the food service equipment over at North School and South School that was not part of the buildings were being paid by the food service program. The food was there. They're supplying the equipment to the programs also here. So that's an outstanding record of what you've done here. So I appreciate, and I know the board appreciates all the work that you've done here.
Thanks, Ron. Anybody else?
They like the cookies.
And we like the cookies.
And Nancy, it's always a pleasure to see you, and it's not just for the cookies.
I'm sure.
You've always got good news. You do.
By the way, she's on the agenda for December 11th for everyone's reference.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute.
The place will be packed.
Yes, but when you see me in March, we might not have that. Hold that thought.
Just bring the cookies.
Don't worry about the
I'll do that.
Thank you, Nancy.
Take care, Nancy. Thank you. Okay, now, biology. Why don't we move to that, and we'll let these folks get home and get some rest so they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. That would be good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Our journey began about a year ago, and we looked at 5 different publishers and their different textbooks. We also had a consultant from the state come in, Jan McLaughlin, to talk to us from the State Department of Ed, who is the science consultant, to tell us what we should be looking for when we look for a new textbook. And this particular textbook has it all. And I'm going to turn it over to the 2 teachers here, Mr. Nee and Mrs. Holleran, who will tell you all about the book and how much the students are enjoying it.
I'm going to read what I've written down so that I don't forget anything. If you apologize for that. First of all, what I need the board to understand is that Insights in Biology is not a textbook. Insights in Biology is a really rich curriculum developed by the Educational Development Center for Science Education, where other textbooks have supporting materials that have to come along with it. This particular curriculum is self-enclosed. Everything that is needed are in those pages. The curriculum not only meets but thoroughly addresses the local benchmarks, the state frameworks, and the national standards for science education. It provides a platform upon which students can read, understand, analyze, critique, and expound upon major biological concepts. I don't use these words lightly. The structure of each lesson, as you look at them, will have a prologue meant to introduce the concept, a brainstorming session that allows the teacher to address students' current understandings and their misunderstandings about science concepts. An activity, or a lab, should you call it that, to build students' skills in science and understanding through critical thinking and problem solving. I think I've used just about every buzzword so far. Reading, I've got one more to go. To help improve student literacy skills with an analytical style questioning rather than a chug and plug kind of an answering system. A recommended assessment to foster informed teaching, measure student concept and skill development, and assess student achievement towards our learning goals. Simply put, no other science resource I've ever reviewed in 3.5 decades of teaching biology comes close to measuring up to Insights in Biology and what it has to offer our students.
Okay, well, I can throw away my second page of notes because Bill's just about covered all of those. But one thing I thought you might like to hear is how the students feel about the new curriculum. So I took an informal poll today at the end of my classes. They understood the reason for it. I told them I was coming here tonight and that we were discussing the book that we're piloting and that they're using now. And could they tell me both good and negative ideas that they had about the book? And students are pretty honest. So I knew that the information I got would be accurate, both good and bad. And the first thing I have to say is that overwhelmingly, the comment I got from the most students over and over again is that they like the hands-on. They like having those labs. They like doing those activities. They said, you know, the labs are straightforward and connect to what we are studying and what is in the book. The labs are so interesting. They like the way that the book has set up the labs. We've learned to do the labs through the first couple of learning experiences, which is what they call the chapters or the concept chapters. And now when we do the new labs, they're consistent. We know how things are going to roll, even though there's different labs. And the labs are set to build upon each other. So those are things that they liked about the labs, and overwhelmingly the hands-on was their biggest joy in this textbook. Some other positive things I've gotten about them. They like the way the book is set up. They like the fact that every learning experience starts with the brainstorming, goes to an activity, then has a reading, then ends with analysis. As one student said, you know what to expect. And they like that. They like knowing what to expect. They believe that the book is user-friendly, and having taken our old biology book to keep at home as a resource, they said that it is much easier to understand. And indeed it is. The language is much better. There are fewer of those very, very difficult foreign language words that are present in the textbooks that are written like this. They like the fact that the book is up to date. They like the fact that it's light. They are not allowed to carry it home because we are piloting this program and the books need to remain in school. But they said this is a textbook you could carry back and forth very easily with you. Other things I heard, we get to do more. It's not just notes or the teachers telling us what to do. The focus is all biology. We like that. As a matter of fact, one student actually told me that they had better comprehension of the material, which was pretty surprising. Everything builds on each other, or that the old stuff comes back and repeats later on. I think this is really going to help me in studying for finals, because this book does an excellent, excellent job of taking concepts and integrating those concepts that they just keep coming back and back and back, and they're revisited and built upon. And even the students are recognizing that. They like the group work. Now, there are some things they don't like. They don't like writing lab reports. Okay?
Neither did I, and that was 40 years ago.
And they don't believe they should be marked off for not using complete sentences or following format. Well, that has nothing to do with the book and everything to do with the teacher. So they think there's a little too much writing. They're doing a lot of writing with these analysis questions. And it's difficult writing, but their skills are improving. Their skill set has increased so much since the beginning of the year. It would be difficult to explain. And sometimes the analysis questions can be hard. Sometimes it's hard to see the relationship between the lab and the analysis questions. And that's where we step in. That's where we bridge the gap. Because now they're thinking, and thinking is hard, and analyzing things is hard. Just some other things I wanted to mention about the book is, Bill already hit it, the analysis questions are just that. They're not fill-ins. These kids are thinking. They're having to use this information to think. They have to study diagrams, charts, and concept maps to interpret and understand the content, and then they turn around and they create their own diagrams, maps, and concept maps that show the connection between the major concepts in a way that I've never seen students do before. The brainstorming activities not only let us know where they are at, but it also brings to the front activation of prior knowledge, which in literacy is absolutely a strategy for sticking new knowledge onto your prior knowledge. Things stick when you can attach them to something you already know. If you just look at the analysis of the section and chapter titles, for example, you are what you eat, that in and of itself is a literacy lesson. Why did the authors choose to call this chapter, You Are What You Eat? Why did they choose to call it Sunlight Becomes You? There's just so much in this textbook. It is so rich, or in this curriculum, as Bill rightly calls it. And also we have connections to the real world. They're talking about anorexia. They're talking about your diet. We have a huge disease unit coming up. The morality and ethics about death, we're going to be doing a section on that. Things that definitely relate to them as adolescents. And this book, which is based on research, just does a beautiful job of doing that. So I be willing to entertain any questions.
And all questions.
Thank you. Start by you, John, anything? Steve?
This is for Mark. My compliments to the publisher. And I think one of the interesting things about this, I usually really try to pay attention to the people that are speaking. But frankly, if this is available during the summer, I wouldn't mind sitting down and enjoying it for a few evenings.
Yeah.
It's the most impressive thing about this is a lot of the books that we see come through here are extremely heavy in graphics and illustrations and color, and not that this book doesn't have that, it does, but they're all technical in nature. They're all supporting the text. It's not flashy. They're not extremely expensive illustrations, but they're detailed and they're technical, and I just really appreciate that. So,
As do we.
Ron?
I have to agree with my colleague. This book is excellent. I think you guys done an excellent job in selection of it. Question I have for Mark is this the way we're going with the rest of the science program, the analytical approach, the and with the chemistry and physics, and how is this continuing through the curriculum, going up to the end and going back down to the middle school?
I think as Diane and our elementary folks and Andy knows, part of the science, the new science standards, there's a heavy emphasis of inquiry. And our high school science staff, when they were selecting this particular program, that was one of the pieces they looked at. They also looked at also the piece which Christine and Bill both mentioned, was the emphasis on literacy, critical thinking, problem solving aspects of that program. I believe the program that the chemistry folks will be will be in the FY 2010 budget. The chemistry book also has some of those same kinds of pieces in it as well. The program at the elementary level, which we're piloting right now, also has a heavy emphasis in inquiry, lab-based experiences. So I think there is a connection from elementary up to the high school level. Ron.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else? Sure.
Can you remind me of the path in biology? Is there biology 1, 2, 3? Where does this book fit in? Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors?
It's a 10th grade program in Londonderry High School, and currently there are 3 tracks. There's a concept track, there's a college prep track, and an honors track for biology at the high school.
This book is where?
This has currently been adopted by 4 of the college preparatory biology classes. The intent, a teacher who we had but left us towards the end of the summer, had also invested herself into following it. But the replacement person is following some of it, but not as tightly, not as skilled yet. But trying to work towards those means. We're hoping that the program, the curriculum is adopted at least in those 2 programs, those 2 levels of programs.
A program that's tilted towards inquiry as opposed to?
As opposed to teacher talk, memorize, and spit back kinds of information.
And
although none of us, ever did that in its entirety, for years now we've been pressured with meeting the tests goals and teaching the information that we were told was necessary to be taught, to be successful, only to come full circle now to understand, having been around again, full circle has happened several times for me, right. To understanding that giving kids a chance to ponder, a chance to think on their own, giving them space to figure things out is probably the most important thing for developing the inquisitive mind, the lifelong learner, empowering them with yeah, I can do it kind of a thing. It's not all about memorizing and recall. It's really about processing.
And I don't disagree. I guess at the end of the day, using this text, do we feel like we've adequately prepared those students who want to pursue a course study in biology in college? Have we prepared them adequately through with this curriculum?
I would say absolutely yes. The recall that I'm experiencing after a couple of months of using it is phenomenal for the material. We were very heavy, as Christine had mentioned, using a lot of scientific language, thinking that that was an important thing, but very misguided. Whereas this textbook doesn't use the scientific language that's not necessary, very carefully, very slowly develops the most important concepts, like the word metabolism, for example, is a large concept in biology, but without getting into the Krebs cycle and the electron transport system and so on and so forth. Material that they won't recall once they get to the college years anyways, but they will remember the concepts. And by the time they're at college, they'll be picking up on the vocabulary if they go into those fields, but they'll have the solid concepts. To talk about anorexia as the missing ingredient, as an introduction to the biomolecules, carbohydrates and proteins, things that kids know about, is a very powerful way to get into a discussion about that. And it has meaning to the kids. And so the recall just has jumped phenomenal. So I think we're doing the kids a better service for the college years at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, John.
Just want to concur with what everybody else has been saying. It's just a fascinating book. I've just been pouring through it while you've been talking. And the one thought that I'd like to add is to fellow parents who might have pulled gentlemen's C's in biology in high school, and let's not even talk about chemistry, and then gone into, say, writing as a career path. This is a good reason not to be afraid to help your kids with science anymore, because it's just that it just seems like that good book. As Steve said, I'd like to borrow one this summer because I think I could learn a lot that I probably didn't catch the first time.
I didn't catch it the second time. So it goes. And I absolutely agree with my colleagues here. I think this is a great move forward for us. Thanks for bringing it to our attention
Thank you much.
and for evaluating it as you did.
If I was you, I'd collect them. I don't think we'd be minus 3 books real quick.
Yeah.
Diane, make sure you
I
count
didn't
them.
get one, so that, if I don't get one back from me, it's because I didn't get one.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for everything.
Time's up, Steve.
Oh, I just have another few minutes, Dad. No. Oh my God, it's great. No. I'll come back during the summer though.
That's a neat book.
It is really.
It doesn't, and there's no feel good.
Oh, we only had 4.
Okay.
Take this. Take
Ben,
this.
I probably stole
Take this the right way. There's
Sorry,
no.
Ben.
There's no.
Notice how we put it under there?
No feel good fluff.
Yeah, I did put it on
You know what I mean?
Go to his consent agenda next.
Yeah.
What?
Consent?
Yes, consent.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second.
Second.
And before we vote, I just want to go through the meetings. Budget presentation on November 25th, so Nate, hopefully that's not going to be a turkey. December 2nd and
Getting
4th.
you a lot of stuffing, though.
I'm sure it will.
It's all gravy.
I knew I went down the wrong road. December 2nd, December 2nd and 4th are budget workshops, regular meeting December the 9th. Budget workshop December the 11th, open budget workshops December 16th and 18th. And I suspect that December 17th should have been last night's November 17th, so. Let's remove that.
No, we are doing it again, and that was about the date.
15th, I think.
It's the 15th, so can you just confirm that with,
Was that a joint meeting, or
I don't
was
know.
that just when reports were supposed to be back?
I don't know, but Nate, can you just follow up with Dave and find out what that was? I think it may have just been the reports.
Why are we meeting again with
I-
the town council?
I'm
on the
gonna
17th?
find out before we do that.
Because we had specific items in the two, because they went over the three items, which were IT, finance, and HR.
Right.
And the company they hired determined, that we hired, excuse me, determined that those areas were not areas that we could find any funds in if we cooperated. And the two areas we were going to look at were facilities, specifically facilities in energy savings, and also facilities in overcrowding of offices in the district and town offices, and also cable. And so those were the two target items that we were going to look at on that date.
Are we chairing that meeting?
I don't actually, honestly, I don't remember agreeing to a meeting, so.
I don't remember.
I remember we were gonna get reports
I
back.
remember that was the due date that was set for reports from
Right.
from the CEOs. I
Well-
don't remember a meeting.
So,
This is just my opinion.
middle of
but
budget season, I'm
Another
not-
meeting like that needs to be structured
Yes.
and held within a reasonable period of time. And if people have positions that they'd like to pontificate on, they can submit them in writing, and we can distribute those as opposed to, letting it run 15 and 20 minutes and then covering the same ground over and over. So, just my opinion.
Okay, so why don't we just see when those reports come back, and then we'll take it from there. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Thank you. And moving to committee reports. CJ?
All right, we'll just start off. The class of 2009 held their prep school party dance last Thursday. It was actually quite interesting because students were required to dress up in clothes commonly associated with school uniforms, which would be like the sweater vest. There was actually a lot of participation. It was a pretty successful dance. The cast for the LHS Drama's production of West Side Story has been chosen, and the rehearsals for that have started. Excited about that. On Teacher Conference Day, many members of the Student Council wheeled around teacher tea carts around 10 o'clock in the morning. The students offered coffee and light refreshments to the teachers, who very much appreciated their gesture. We also helped incoming parents find their child's classrooms for the teachers they wanted to conference with. And then on Sunday, we held the Walk for Diabetes up at the school, started in the cafeteria. The money was raised by our members who asked for and accepted donations. We ended up raising about $1,500 just by donations alone. The event was organized by our SAVE coordinator, Anna Larson. That's it.
Thanks, CJ. Steve? George?
First, I want to, apologize to Bonnie Brighthop. I did not report for her last meeting on November 2nd, so here are her notes from that meeting. On Saturday, October 25th, the Moose Hill PTA participated in the Haunted Harvest at Matthew Thornton School. Thanks to the generosity of their PTA, Moose Hill is able to supply the baked goods, pizza, and beverage to the hungry crowd of participants and volunteers. The goal of the Moose Hill PTA is to participate in one event in each elementary school to encourage our students to visit their future school. Look for us at North School's holiday breakfast in December. We'll be selling cookies at that event. The Moose Hill PTA was recognized at the New Hampshire Partners in Education Blue Ribbon Achievement Awards ceremony that took place on Monday, October 27th. The award is given to schools for their numerous volunteer hours. Moose Hill was also recognized for their participation in the Power of the Penny. The pennies collected were donated to the Leukemia Society. Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, several Munchkins, as well as other characters paraded around Moose Hill School on Friday, October 31st, where they entertained parents and guests with a fall song before returning to the classroom to participate in learning stations that challenged their dexterity, brains, and courage. Activities such as pinning a nose on a pumpkin while blindfolded, eating a donut without hands, throwing a beanbag in a jack-o'-lantern, and identifying objects by touch, if you dared to reach inside the box, were just a few of the activities enjoyed by the kindergarten students, as well as the many volunteers that helped to make this event possible. Fortunately, the Wicked Witch did not show up to spoil the fun. Moving to the high school, Steve Juster reports that they currently have over 100 young ladies donating 8 inches of their hair for the Pantene Beautiful Lengths at this upcoming Winter Pep Rally, January 9th, 2009. And he says quite eloquently and quite simply, these kids are unbelievable. From the middle school, I personally would like to report the Tornado Team Students of the Week for the week ending November 7th. It's Tom Beadham and Emily Austin, and the week ending November 14th, James Grand Mason and Molly McCullough. Jean Holden, who heads up the Girls Respect program, wanted to mention that the Community Service Project, which was their treasure boxes, was a success, and they had 30 6th, 7th, and 8th graders from Girls Respect, Art Club, and the Typhoon team participate. The boxes came out beautifully. From Wendy Worth at the middle school, on November 10th, 12th, and 13th, the Zephyr team participated in the Adventure program. The theme of the week was Zephyrs Band Together. The team's theme revolves around the 11 characteristics that an admirable Zephyr represents, which are responsibility, self-discipline, compassion, honesty, fairness, enthusiasm, trustworthiness, perseverance, motivation, integrity, and citizenship. The students began their week by breaking into 8 groups, forming mini teams. These individual teams worked towards achieving individual and group goals. Over the course of 3 days, using a map of the grounds and a compass, the students traveled through 16 self-directed stations. At these stations, students completed team-building activities that helped them work towards achieving many of the 11 characteristic goals this program promotes. The students had 3 guest speakers during the week: Dave Spahn speaking on bullying prevention and awareness, Jack Janakis speaking on the effects of drugs and alcohol, and Mrs. Brooks speaking on behalf of the team motto, Zephyrs Band Together. The culmination of the week was a game of foes and questors. At each station, if the team-building activity was done successfully, students would earn equipment that would help them in this game. The game tied together the team-building goals the students had worked on all week. Mr. Noon facilitated the students throughout the week, along with Mrs. Kelly, Mrs. Brooks, Mrs. Noon, Ms. Worth, Mrs. Schmidt, Ms. Shaughnessy, and the assistants for the Zephyr students. After months of planning, the Zephyr team found the week to be successful, and the Zephyrs did achieve their goal in having the Zephyrs band together. Mrs. Worth goes on to also report that the students for October that won the Winning Ways program, and these awards are given based on the same characteristics I just read. For October, we had Nick McQueenie, Sophia, I'm going to not do well on these names, I apologize, Sophia Maragius, Jackie Curtin, Maggie Connors, Travis Kellogg, Tom Aguilar, Gabrielle Flagg, TJ Bajic, Brandon Costa, Alexis Ginty, Lauren Cordemanche, and Cameron O'Neill. This comes from Mary Beth Donovan Olson at South School. One of my 3rd grade art clubs entered Crayola's National Green, the Earth's Favorite Color contest. The 9 students who entered were the only entries from New Hampshire. The students' artwork will be on display at South School, and they can be viewed on the Crayola website at www.crayola.com. From Carol Mack. We had a few big events at Matthew Thornton School. First was Celebrity Reader, our annual program that reading specialist Vicki Stickney puts together. We had 115 readers come in on November 13th to delight our students with stories. This year's group included the Commissioner of Education, Lionel Tracy, Miss New Hampshire, Fungo from the Fisher Cats, Mike Moran from WZID, and Jamie Staton from WMUR.
What did the cat read?
I don't know. I did not get into that level of detail.
Person in the hat?
That could be. Or me in the hat, maybe. Most exciting of all was the number of school district staff and parents who gave up time in their day to come in and read to the students. Mark Leach, father of Mark and Mary Ellen, who attend Matthew Thornton, is a scout for the Detroit Red Wings, champions of the NHL this past year. Mark very generously offered to display the Stanley Cup for the children at Matthew Thornton. It was here from 11/1, November 1st, on Monday, was here from 11 to 1 on Monday, November 17th, I'm sorry, before it headed back to Toronto. The cup is given to each member of the team for 24 hours. It does come with one of 4 cup carriers who work for the Hockey Hall of Fame. We had Mike Bolt as the cup carrier for this trip, who handles the cup with white gloves. It was a great experience for our students. And last but not least, this is from the middle school, Sioux Row. Some of you may have noticed there were some flyers on the chairs out there. The school does have its silent auction tomorrow evening. It is from 5:30 to 7 p.m. in the cafeteria. All kinds of raffles, a silent auction. You can buy tickets for a autographed Celtics basketball, and a million other things I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at for forgetting from her. But I've done my best, Sue, for the record. And that is all.
Thanks, George.
Yes, John.
I'd just like to point out regarding the silent auction, in the same spirit that I asked Rich to talk about that order form, that it certainly would be nice if somewhere in town there was, say, a website that, listed all the things up for auction at a easy-to-remember address like londonderrynh.net. Think that could happen at all, Steve? No. What I'm trying to say here is there's a comprehensive list of the things up for auction, and it's a very sweet list of things. It's on londonderrynh.net if anybody would like to take a look and maybe figure out what it is they're going to bid on.
Thanks, John. And Ben, we have anything?
Absolutely nothing.
Ronnie?
Before this meeting, we had the special education meeting, and I'm going to make this brief. On December 9th, Kim will be coming before us to give us the where we are with special education, the projections, and that. So it comes at an appropriate time right before her presentation on the budget. So we'll have that done on December 9th. Also, I attended a meeting the week before, I think it was on Monday night, from the CIP committee. We were looking on selling Londonderry. And it was a committee put together by the town council, and we had a marketing person in here.
Oh, I thought you were selling the town.
No,
Hey,
it's possible for
Didn't
sale.
realize things that were that bad.
But we had a marketing person in here, and
Would
he's
be,
chairman of the,
Gary O'Neill, who has been in several marketing firms. He's presently the chairman of the Manchester-Boston Regional Airport Authority.
right, and he did an excellent job as he explained the land. And we have 800 acres right by the airport there. And in his terms, that's probably one of the most valuable pieces of land in southern New Hampshire right now. And that we should be selling this and developing this land and working with the airport authority and working with Manchester as a combined item to make sure that we get the right development in this land. It's not just developing it, but the right development. And there'll be a proposal going to the town council in early December about marketing firms and how that works. It was a very interesting meeting, and it gives some optimism on reducing the tax base, as Steve has spoken often about increasing the tax base here, reducing the tax rate. Got that a little confused there for a second. But it's a good development area. It's going to be coming up. It's Penningale Road, the continuation of that. So there's a lot of ways that we can develop it to benefit the town over the next 5, 10, 15 years. So those are the two areas I was in.
Thanks, Ron. Steve?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Ron. It's not just cutting expenses, it's increasing revenue. There's two sides to this formula, and we need to not forget that. It doesn't relate to the school district, but I have been participating as an unpaid consultant to the Economic Development Department on a new website that they're looking at getting some funding for from the state that will promote the town and its tools that it has for getting companies to move here. And although we know it's a difficult economic time right now, that will end at some point. And we want to make sure that when it ends, we bring in we don't bring in homes with children, we bring in businesses with revenue that can help drive the great school system that we have. School funding on the NH Cafe front. NH Cafe, Londonderry, Merrimack, and the 18-member communities and towns submitted to the Supreme Court a petition for our money back, if you guys don't mind me not using legal terms. So we asked for our money back. The state has responded to that, but not necessarily objected to it. So our attorney will now be working with the court to determine how we structure that and how and what happens. The issue there is we went to court for school funding for every child in the state of New Hampshire. And since we won that case, and since the law, House Bill 616, was determined to be unconstitutional, and since the general court is now on its way to fully funding an adequate education, we have the ability to go and have the state pay from everyone in the state of New Hampshire, since we benefited everyone in the state of New Hampshire in that case. So we'll have more details as they come available.
Thanks, Steve. John?
It is? Fully funding an adequate education?
I think I said on their way.
Yeah. Long road. Let's see.
A decade and a half so far.
Yeah. And it's about the same number as a decade and a half ago, isn't it? More than words at the middle school. Great success as usual. Thanks and congratulations to the organizers. PTO meeting at the middle school tomorrow night, 7 o'clock during the silent auction. So if you're over there for the one, stop by for the other.
Thanks, John. And moving along, we got the grades 1 through 8 special curriculum, high school honors, and AP report. So Mark, Mike,
And Andy.
And Andy.
well, Andy's back there. I don't know if he's like paying any attention, but
Good evening, gentlemen. In your packet this evening, you'll see a report on special curriculum, AP honors, and some of the statistics that are in there. I'm pleased to report to you this evening the grades 1 through 8 special curriculum. Mike will follow with the report on advanced placement and honors here shortly. The district special curriculum programs and services are designed not only to service our above average and high ability students, but also to enrich the curriculum for all of our students at grades 1 through 8. At the elementary schools, all students in grades 1 through 5 are exposed to general enrichment math on a weekly basis at the primary grades, 1, 2, and 3, to up to every 3 weeks at grades 4 and 5. In addition, all students at grades 4 and 5 self-selected from more than 61 enrichment cluster opportunities last winter and spring at our 3 elementary schools. The selected grades 4 and 5 pull-out math courses have 59 students this year enrolled in those pull-out math sections at the 3 elementary schools. This compares to 57 students a year ago. Our key program services 64 students at grades 4, 92 students at grades 5, which is consistent with the number of students enrolled last year. The Creative and Challenging Destination Imagination program at the elementary schools this year has 15 teams, 105 students, compared to 6 teams and 42 students last year. In addition, the schools provide a variety of events throughout the year, including the New England Math League competitions, Spelling Bee, Images of Greatness, Discovery Night, and others that are open to all students. Londonderry Middle School has seen growth in programs and services, particularly in math, reading, and writing in recent years. New this year, as was mentioned during our strategic plan, is the Advanced Studies Classroom. Advanced Studies provides support for all subject areas and for any student maintaining an A average in that class and is or recommended by his or her teacher. The LMS special curriculum staff service between 100 and 120 students each week so far in the Advanced Studies classroom. LMS Special Curriculum Program also offers in-class school-wide enrichments for all students that enrich curriculum in the content areas. It offers nearly a dozen extracurricular clubs and activities such as the popular Math Olympiad, Science Enrichment, Media, which is radio and video, Political Club, and Destination Imagination, among others. The Destination Imagination program at LMS has 3 teams this year and 21 students. This is down slightly from last year. In the area of accelerated mathematics offerings this year, LMS has 87 students in high CMP or accelerated math at grade 6, 113 students in pre-algebra, algebra offerings at grade 7, 106 students in algebra or algebra geometry topics at grade 8. 2 students at grade 8 are taking advanced geometry at LHS this year. These numbers are consistent with the number of middle school students enrolled in accelerated math offerings last year. Again, this represents nearly a quarter of students in each class, grades 6 through 8, taking accelerated mathematics courses. As a transition to Mike's report on advanced placement and honors this evening, Londonderry High School also offers Destination Imagination. There are 3 teams this year serving 26 students. This brings our district-wide DI program to 21 teams representing 152 students across the district for this year. So our thanks to the dedicated elementary and middle school special curriculum teachers, our high school honors and AP teachers who provide quality instruction daily to our students, as well as the administrators who support them. Do you have any questions on the special curriculum report at this point?
Questions?
Impressive.
It is impressive, you're right, Ron. No, Mark, I think we're set.
Okay.
Very nice job.
Mr. Dolphin.
Okay. Few things. The Bridges program is a partnership between Londonderry High School and Nashua Community College. When we started in 05-06, it was Nashua, New Hampshire Technical Community College. At Nashua, you may know that all of the schools changed to community college this past July 1st. We had a variety of students in terms of numbers. I think we had 3 the first year. We went up to 7, 15. We currently have 5 kids enrolled this year. And what that means is they have to pay, because they're not graduates of high school, they're not eligible for financial aid, so they have to pay the fee. But we have all the 5 students are enrolled full-time this year, which means they're taking 4 classes each semester. And for each class that they pass, they get Londonderry credit. They get a credit to a credit and a quarter if they have a laboratory class, and they get 3 to 4 college credits per course. So there's a process involved where every winter we have an evening session. We give them a tour of the campus. We have an application. Simple, we use the Nashua Community College application. The $10 fee is waived, and then we have interviews, and then they take the AccuPlacer test. The AccuPlacer test is the staple of the 2-year system, where any student who enrolls in a 2-year system community college in the country takes the AccuPlacer computer test that determines their levels in math and English. So that it's a wide variety of kids. It can be perhaps kids with below average GPAs to a student this year that's enrolled with 3.8 because she wanted to go there to because of architecture. Her major is architecture in college, and she's going to be looking at 21 to 24 credits of college when she graduates from Londonderry, and she's going to get an additional 8 high school credits. So it's basically dual enrollment, even though she's not, she comes to the high school just to do an independent study for one of her social studies offerings with one of the teachers, and she's already been accepted to Temple University for architecture for next year. And that's not her first choice. So the good thing is that the community college system has changed to the point where it's, even though there's great technical programs, more than 66% of the kids who are enrolled in the system are, can take English. English 101 in my day is the same if it's at UNH, Boston College, or at Nashua Community College. It doesn't matter. All the credits transferable with a C or better. So very excited about those programs. Those are truly heroes and heroines in my eyes because they're taking a risk. Their families are making a commitment to pay, and they're treated as college students. The professors do not know that these kids are high school seniors. I know, the admissions office knows, so we keep an eye on them really closely. But it's a program that we hope to grow. And this particular student with a 3.8 has kind of broken the barrier in terms of just, typically we have kids between a 2.0 and a 2.5 who go there for a variety of variety of reasons. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get them on Access this year and let them tell their stories about why they did this, and that it's certainly an option for many, many juniors. So I'm very proud of that program. Project Running Start program, we have 18 courses at this point that students can take. And what it is a few years ago, the technical community college system, again now community college system, started offering courses basically through Manchester. And what it means is that if a teacher at our high school has a master's degree in their field, they're like an HQT, qualified teacher, and they're teaching the class. So if it's accounting and it matches our curriculum, our program of studies matches theirs, then the kids pay $100 to Manchester Community College or Great Bay or NHTI or whatever, because they're all involved. And the teachers, 17 different teachers since 2001 have taught these different courses from accounting to principles of engineering. So what happens is in the fall of each school year, a representative from the community college system, Betsy Stull at Manchester, will come and talk to all the classes involved. And the teachers, the registration form is filled out. There's the same drop ad period. They obviously are in the high school every day. They don't leave. And at the end of the course, if they get a C or better, they have to contact the registrar's office at their particular institution, and the grades are sent to their particular college that they enroll in once they declare that before they graduate. So now we're looking, since 2001, we've had 17 students then. Now last year we were up to 200. Okay, so we've gone over 654 kids enrolled in these classes, and Running Start has grown. We have a lot of kids that take it, and a lot of the red tape has decreased over the years. So Manchester Community College, Great Bay now, and at Pease, and NHTI are all involved, as well as Nashua. So it's an opportunity for kids to get college credit at $100, and so there's many options there. And that's the Running Start, and that's counting, anatomy, AP, computer science, biotech, C++, calculus, college physics, courses like that as well. AP, advanced placement. You have some literature where we have 11 courses now in AP. Total enrollment this year is 404 students. Advanced placement, we have 17 honors courses. We have 994 students enrolled in honors. And we have 3 courses that students can take: accounting 2, anatomy and physiology, and principles of engineering. And they don't have to change their class. Many of the kids in those classes can opt for the honors option. Okay, they sign up for the honors option, they put in an honors weighted class, and they get the appropriate weight on their grades. And on the other page, the AP scores from 2007, 2008. So it gives you that 192 kids were tested. We had 141 score 3 or better. Close to 73 to 74% scored 3 or better. And then we do have some students in Calculus BC, for example. We do have students that take that as an independent study. Because of our advanced geometry program, where the 8th graders can access it, and students starting in 9th grade, many of the kids are done with their math. They hit AP Stats or AP Calculus, and Joanne Blake has been wonderful about offering Calculus BC to kids. She currently has 3 students this year as well in Calculus BC, in addition to the 3 she taught last year. So it's quite a variety of honors options. It's nice to see the principles of engineering, the accounting, that the kids can do the honors option, anatomy. So all it is a change in a computer, making sure that the class is appropriately named and appropriately weighted, and it reflects on the kid's transcript. And all of the schools, Great Bay and so forth, we have articulation agreements with. So we have 22 schools again, and I reported on in September that we have affiliations with, so the kids can access. We took some kids to Daniel Webster today, Franklin Pierce on Thursday. We've already had UNH and deadlines for Southern New Hampshire. So I think 33% of our students from last year's class went to an articulation school, which were 13, now there's 22. Questions? Ask Mark.
Thanks, Mike. Yep, Ben?
Yeah, have we missed anything? I mean, is there any opportunity that you would like to create for this group of students that for one reason or another hasn't come forward?
You mean the students who don't access college?
Right. Well, the students that are involved in honors, AP, that have that type of have that capability.
I think that, it would be very, I'd love to say to the board and to the town, I'd love to see funding for some of the Bridges kids. That to me is an opportunity, but in this economy, it wouldn't be fair to ask because they pay $173 per credit, for the courses. So some of those kids are paying, if they're going full-time, they're paying over $4,000 a year. Not that it doesn't have its benefits, because it does, but certainly with the articulation programs, the kids last year accessed $964,000 for their college with the schools that we have, with the benevolence of the institutions that offer financial aid, and merit money. So there's a lot of opportunities for the kids. I mean, 90% of the seniors last year's class went to college. The most proudest statistic I have since I've been here was we went from 10% two-year schools to 24% two-year schools in 4 years. And that to me is not just because of the access to two-year schools and the economy, but some kids are making the decision that, they want, their dream school is, and they can't get in, and they're looking at some of the two-year institutions, which Northern Essex, Manchester, Great Bay, Nashua, Granite State College, and Southern New Hampshire's Advantage program. So that's the most important thing for me, is to give every kid access. We tell the kids for 4 years, you all can go to college. You can all go, no matter what your situation is, without your financial situation, graduate. We obviously want to create rigor and have the kids challenge themselves fully, but it's quite a range of schools that the kids go. As a matter of fact, the most of our last year's seniors, the #1 school in volume was Northern Essex Community College, because they have a great joint admissions program. If you go there for 2 years, Massachusetts system, and you get a 2.5, whatever major, liberal studies or general studies, you can automatically, it's a transfer into Bridgewater State or Salem State or UMass Lowell. And 3.0, they get 33% off their tuition. That's Massachusetts. Now, unfortunately, we live in a different state. Just, at a BIA breakfast today, we are now 50th in the United States, New Hampshire, for aid to higher post-secondary education. And the University of New Hampshire, for New Hampshire residents, is the most expensive school in the state, in the country for our kids. And that's the one thing that, even though we send a lot of kids to UNH, they've been really good about giving our top students some merit money. They offered $77,000 last year to our seniors who were accepted. So I could go on about all the governors that I fought with for 34 years, but I won't.
No, I was just curious about things that we can control and that we could do.
I think what you've done since I've been here is promoting these partnerships and encouraging the kids to take advantage of it, allowing the publicity to occur. I think the word is out. The kids know what the word articulation means. They look forward to it. They hear about it. They know where 5 years ago it was a foreign term. The kids all know the partnership schools. We've increased enrollment at all of our New Hampshire colleges and universities, and it's nice to see that we have Suffolk and UMass Lowell and Northern Essex and Massachusetts as well. So we only have 2 schools in the state that we don't have partnerships with, in St. Anselm and Dartmouth.
Just to back up some of the stuff Mike said, if you think about it, enrollment, not students, but enrollment, we have enrollment of 836 kids. They're either in Project Running Start, Bridges program, or AP courses. That's 836 opportunities to get college credit, if in fact they choose to do that, which I think is just a phenomenal number. And that's not talking about the kids who are in the honors courses, which obviously with the weighted score gives them a leg up when they apply to college. So I think that's really, really important. down the road a little bit, we'll wait and see exactly what happens, but one of the initiatives of Tough Choices, Tough Times in the state will be promoting more kids taking college-level courses at age 16. We're already on the way. One of the things I'm hoping is going to come out of that, because it's supposed to be quote-unquote a nationwide fundraising event through through Mark Tucker, will be funds that will come to the state of New Hampshire to perhaps do some of those things and also build on some of the items that we have here. And I'm supposed to be having a meeting sometime in the near future to get some more of the details, which might also get us out from some of the state minimum standard stuff that we might be able to, but that's discussion for another day. But when you look at, and I'll get this point in before we hit budget season. Mike mentioned when you talk about education spending and looking at education investment, last year's kids who participated in the articulation agreement are getting, if they finish the 4 years, $964,000 worth of value in going to those colleges, scholarship money. That's a substantial amount of money. All the kids that are participating in and taking advantage of getting credits for Project Running Start, $100, you go and try and find a college course for $100, right? So you start looking at all that, taking the AP courses. Those are the money we're spending on those programs are investments that come back to the individual taxpayers and the kids in this community. There aren't many high schools in this state, our size, that can say we have enrollment of 836 kids in these courses that could be eligible for college credit if in fact the kids do it. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
When we look at what we're spending our money on and the advantages our kids are getting, I think it becomes key, and I think we've got to look at that. And you couple that with what Mike had said before, 90% of our kids going on to 2 or 4 year colleges last year, and a dropout rate 2 years in a row, 1% or less. You know, are you getting your money's worth? I would say, yeah.
One of the things I want to look here at the AP scores, and I know impressive. I look at Calculus AB and Calculus BC. 33 students tested and 33 students got 3 or above on that. I think that's phenomenal. 100%. Calculus. Wow.
It's pretty amazing, and thank you both, gentlemen. Mike is a recipient of one of those articulation agreements where my youngest son goes. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Before
Yes,
we go
Nate.
to, I want to say thank you to Mark and the special curriculum people for the work they've done, and I also want to say thank you once again to Mike Dolphin. These articulation agreements were Mike's brainchild and that work, and it's been absolutely wonderful. He's been just a spectacular addition to our school district.
No,
And I want to thank him for those efforts.
I absolutely agree, and again, Mike, thank you. Nate, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. I'm going to turn it over to Peter.
I knew that.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's all yours, Pete.
Yes. The first sheet of my memo is the approved tax rates that were approved in October, and since many of us are taxpayers in Londonderry, you should have gotten your tax bills by now, since they are due in a couple of weeks. In general, and keep in mind, the first quarter ends September 30th, so school is just open for a month. We don't see at this point any major differences, any major variances, any problems that we see in the horizon as far as the general fund, both in revenues and expenses. On revenues, there are a couple of things to point out. As mentioned, we were told to adjust catastrophic aid, prorated down to 85% of what we're eligible to receive. Anita and I talked about it and talked to Nate. We actually went down to 80% just in case. And I'm glad we kind of did that, because I hear other things that may be coming. We also, as I mentioned, had to adjust bank or interest earned from what we thought this time last year to what we had to do. We dropped it down to $200,000. That's really on, because of the interest rates that we're currently receiving. At the time I wrote this, I said in my memo that other than catastrophic aid, we have received no information from the state of New Hampshire about anything else being adjusted. And then, as Connie's putting the packet together, Mr. Greenberg comes back to the meeting that says that the state would be looking at the adequacy grant for 2010. And he also mentioned that, that don't be too surprised if adjustments are made on 2009. And I'm sure Nate has more information than I have.
Just a quick question. When you say adjustments, that means adjustments downward.
It's not going up.
Just wanted to make sure it was clear.
Yeah. And what that does for us is, obviously, since the tax rate has already been set, and we've already determined the amount of tax revenue to collect, any decreases in revenues obviously have to be offset by a decrease in the operating budget, the expenditure side, so we then don't end up in a deficit position.
Can I interrupt for
Yep.
1 second here? One of the things that I think will be important for us to do, I was going to mention it later, but this appears to be an opportune time. An idea I had was that perhaps the board would like to entertain a meeting with our reps and senator to review the revenue side and also encourage them to hold the line on revenues, in essence, not to allow a decrease in revenue for the current fiscal year, and also to support efforts to make sure that we have appropriate revenues coming in the next fiscal year. As the board is more than well aware, any reduction in state funds has a direct impact on the local tax rate. I think it may not be a bad idea for us to invite the reps in. We can walk them through the revenue side and show them what, in fact, the impact would be on decline in revenues if, in fact, that were to occur. I don't think it hurts, so if the chair is all right with that, I'll see if I can speak to you and get a potential date or put it on a board meeting.
They're the people that have the direct access, and I think they understand, but they need to fully understand
Correct.
the impact. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the dates we have here. Is that something we can do
I would think if
for the December, like, as the first item on
Yeah.
December 9th?
I could look to see if we can make some arrangement. It wouldn't, we could spend 15, 20 minutes with
Yeah,
them.
I mean, it does, I think that,
Sure.
I want to hear what they have to say,
Sure.
but it's more important that and I'd like them to leave here with some sort of letter, note, instruction, whatever, that explains these things that they can walk up to Concord with, so.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ronnie, yes?
Also, when you invite the reps and you have a definite date, can you invite the town council also? I think they would want to be over here too, having them over.
I'm sorry, Peter, I didn't mean.
It's okay. Table 1, we show the balance of September 30th for the trust funds, impact fees, school maintenance trust, capital projects, and the sped trust fund. We have not drawn down any impact fee money. We'll be doing so in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be giving you, asking the board to approve the expenditures that were done over the summer and draw down the maintenance trust fund. The only point I want to make in the table 1 is that the impact fee balance at September 30th, 2008 is shown as just over $330,000. A year ago, that balance was $422. So we are not collecting as rapidly as we have in the past in impact fees. We will obviously draw down the 300 in the next couple of weeks, but we will keep an eye on next year. I think we'll be okay, depending on what happens with impact fees coming in, may impact of 2011 as we use impact fees as a revenue source.
The other side of that coin, though, is the reduction in impact fees. Isn't that directly related to the decrease in residential housing construction? So,
Correct.
for each impact fee we don't get, we also don't get an $8,000 child, or 1.2 $8,000 child.
.74, I think they're down to.
Well,
Yes, Ben, I'm sorry.
The marginal cost of a child is not $8,000. I mean, let's not overstate the case here.
Trying to keep simple numbers.
okay. On the expenditure side, as I mentioned, early into the year, we don't see anything that is out of the ordinary. We, as we always do, highlight the over budgeted line items as we do, as we go along. Obviously, the usual ones we keep track of, regular ed substitutes, and that is the only one that is a projection of where we think we'll end up at year end. The rest are the actual account balances for each line item as you go through that table. I highlighted that the accounts that most likely will draw on to cover those over expenditures, savings and turnover, and once they're officially approved, Title I funding that will be retroactive, approved this year. If you want me to go over, I can go over the table. If anybody has any particular questions on the over expenditures, I can answer those questions.
I got questions for Peter.
I'll just point out one thing. If you remember back, we approved to convert the middle school in Matthew Thornton from gas to natural, from oil to natural gas, and that's the predominant reason when you see summer construction services over expenditured. We use that account for the hardware, if you want to call it, to convert the burners, and then the natural gas. Obviously, we created a line for the actual usage of natural gas.
I'll ask the question. Peter, on the X2 training, it's
Yep.
$18,500. It more than, didn't we budget for that when we put it all together?
No, if you, I'll check that. I don't think I'll have to go back and, I don't think we had all the training money this time set up to go in the X2. But I'll check that for you.
Okay, I'd appreciate that.
And as long as we're on computers, the $12,259 that was the kids building the machines.
Yes, that was
Over the summer, but I assume we budgeted that money somewhere else, so it's just this line is over, something else is under.
Well, what happened was, if you remember in the lease, we budgeted, I'll say, $600 for a computer.
Yep.
In the middle of the year, we decided to do what we did. So in reality, there wasn't money budgeted in the operating budget for labor. There was some money for temp money, but not the amount that was required so you save money when you come up, you'll see that
In the lease.
substantial savings to the lease, not on the operating budget.
That's what I was driving at.
Right.
Thanks, Peter. Anything else?
During the budget,
Steve?
during the budget season, it'll be interesting to know how that change in our direction affects the default budget concept. You don't need to do it tonight, but thanks.
John? Oh, okay, sorry. Anything else? Thank you, Peter.
Next item up is October enrollment report. From LEAP through adult ed, our grand total is 5,302. There's a slight typo. The first number, instead in grand total, should be 108 as opposed to 98, but the total is correct. Just didn't slide over. And that represents basically a drop of 1 since the September, overall drop of 1 since September. And we see the normal fluctuations that we do at the beginning of the year, and we settle in.
Thanks, Nate.
You're welcome.
All righty. And I guess we're back to Peter?
Yes.
Yes, this is seek board approval to approve municipal leasing consultants at 3.71% for the interest rate for the FY 2009 capital lease. Municipal leasing was the winning vendor for last year's capital lease. It's actually lower than last year's was 3.99. This is 3.71. We sent out 4 and received 2. And to be honest, these are the 2 that we normally get each year. These 2 are more involved in municipal leasing, this type of stuff, than what the normal banks would be interested in.
Peter, when you put the budget together last year, what ballpark figure did you think we would get for an interest rate for the lease?
I mean, we always use 4% because we know historically we're around 4%, but we don't, unlike when we did the South School bond, we gave a number and we projected out, you know, the payment schedule. We usually don't do that during the budget process. We simply determine what level of capital expenditures in the lease we want, and then we go out a year, you know, as we do it in arrears after everything's been purchased.
Yeah, John.
Budget amount was 430,000. The total committed is 385,000.
Yes.
So you're going out to lease at 44,000 less than we anticipated?
Right, with the note, not the note, the proposal you get for municipal leasing is the full budget amount. And they do that because that's what the appropriation is for. Once it gets approved, we will secure the note for the actual amount that we actually use, which is why we do it in arrears, so we don't pay interest on, say, $40,000 of unused money.
How'd you save all that money?
The majority of it was what we just talked about with George is, when we budgeted the computers, it was to be purchased, we were gonna purchase the white boxes, and instead we turned it around and used, the students over the summer bought components and had them build it. So the labor was on the operating side, which is why you saw the temporary labor under IT over budget, and on the lease, it's just the components of the units. I mean, there are a couple other things, but that was the majority of them.
3 or 4 year lease.
3-year lease, sorry.
Mr. Chair, I make a,
Hold on. I'm
George,
sorry.
there was a question.
I'm sorry, come on up, Jay. I'm trying to do too many things at one time. I mean, this, you know, absolutely.
I'll be brief. Jay Hooley, Budget Committee. Just a question.
Thanks.
Any update on a thought to a different approach to this and not paying 1/3 payment of 3 different loans and interest each year, such that your principal equals what you bought each year and you're paying 3 different sets of interest on it? The interest could be purchasing power. We just have to get out from under the carryover. I don't know if I'm stating that well, but I think.
No, I understand.
I understand exactly what you mean.
It's tough, though, because you're gonna have to, and put in the operating budget, you're gonna have to double fund at least 1 or 2 years. You'll have to continue paying the interest, you know, the payment, and
Could it
then
be done-
put in the operating budget.
Could it be done incrementally, that this year we'll take anything that's $500 or less per item, we're gonna get it into the budget. Next year, your capital lease will only be those items above that. The following year, do it at anything that's a grand or more. And you know, you scale it out of one into the other incrementally. Maybe the $24,000 items, this makes sense, but the
Yeah.
200, 300, you know, the $250 kidney-shaped table,
Right.
we could probably just buy and not pay interest on it for 3 years.
Take a look at it.
I think that's what you told me last year.
Well, but I couldn't do it once it was approved.
Okay, well,
We're coming up to the new cycle.
right.
Do you remember why we got into this?
The reason,
I'm not questioning why it used to work, I'm just wondering if we need to continue it.
Well, do we expect to have those situations again?
again, it was just a case of the buying power as you started to buy a number of items that you wanted to get, and the leases were into the $500,000-600,000 at the time we started this, that you couldn't put $600,000 into the budget at the time, and that was the reason that it began.
Right, and
and
again,
that-
maybe for major items, but a lot of the small ticket stuff, I think we can work out of this and.
It started back when we started buying computers, if I'm not mistaken, and that was the major purchase of it, is when this occurred. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but that was the logic behind it when we had to catch up so much with the computers that you couldn't put that much in the budget to raise the tax rate 50 or 60 cents.
Right.
Yeah,
What is the interest we're gonna pay on this lease in total, Peter, do you know?
I haven't,
Well, the high end would be 36,000,
Right,
plus
I
or
mean,
minus.
That could be.
I haven't,
But, I mean, your point's well made, Jay. I think what we have to ask ourselves is, do we anticipate, say, over the next 5 years, that we are looking at annual items for this lease in the range of $300,000, $400,000? You know, do we anticipate any large blips down the road? If we don't anticipate any large blips, then what you're saying makes sense. We just roll out of this over that period of time. I think that's the financial planning that we have to do in order to convert back
If we
out.
foresee something large coming, we either build up a reserve or finance that one
Or
large
finance
blip.
that.
Well, time out. We can't build up reserves.
Sorry. we could
That's,
trust.
no, we don't have the ability to do trust and stuff like that for purchases.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
My bad.
Wrong meeting.
It all blends.
But it was a
Yes,
good thought.
It's a good thought. No, but I think you're right, and I think one of the things you can look at is as one of these leases roll off, that money is used, the payment of that lease starts to pay for it in the budget type, and over a 3-year period or a 4-year period, you've got all that money there.
And as you cycle the small stuff out, okay, it's $40,000 of,
Yep,
be it chairs, tables, whatever, that we
Right.
can actually purchase instead of debt service.
yep. No, it makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept municipal leasing.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Read.
Are you going to non-public?
No, we're
Not
making
until
a
we vote
motion.
on this. I'll get you before you go.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the lease for municipal leasing consultants at 3.71% interest rate.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So it goes. I can open up public I'm sorry, yep. Ben?
To Jay's point, though, I mean, do we want to discuss it further, or do we want to, instruct the superintendent to, structure accordingly for the next budget year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, as we get into the budget discussion, it's the time to look, as we start looking at the capital lease in this upcoming budget, and I think Jay is absolutely right. What's the threshold? Do we want to look at $1,000, $500? I don't know what that
Well, you've got-
threshold is. You kind of
you've
got to
got
give us a.
Yeah, you've got approximately, what, $75,000 in lease payment rolling, $151,000 in lease payment rolling off. So you would commit that to.
Right, the budget.
To budget, and then you'd look to capital lease next year, maybe $300,000.
right,
Two
except,
75.
except this year you have the principal payment. 2010, you get the South School principal payment hitting. Your debt service in 2010 is actually going up like 300,000 because you got South School bond hitting you. I'm saying, yeah, I use debt service as all debt.
Right.
So I think it warrants further discussion,
Yes,
certainly.
yes.
I guess
Yeah,
my question is, I'd like to see what the budget looks like and the numbers coming in, and then we can have that discussion once we see the whole picture, especially this year.
Right.
Absolutely.
Steve?
This relates to my question that I asked on how this would affect our default budget, is if we change direction and, we no longer have this contractual item, how does that modify that number? So I think that we should have those conversations the
Yeah.
next time, and you should be ready for them.
Yeah. That's fine. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and I'll reopen public comment. Mr. Clark? Come on down.
Okay.
8 Clark Stonehenge Road. Sorry, when you have two important meetings on the same night, I come in late, so.
So you're saying we're not as
You may have said all
important as
this
the other one?
before, so.
We're just likely to go longer.
Yesterday, I spent some time here listening to how you two boards can get together. And I had a couple of minor points that I said, I only had privy to the little sheet that you gave out. I didn't have privy to the whole report. so I don't know if it was in the report, and if it was, just say yes, and I'm out of here, because you've still got 5 minutes still. But it, I got 2 calls with similar questions. I got 2 calls with similar questions, so I figure that it must be in the report somewhere. I presume that the more things you buy in bulk, the cheaper you get them. In other words, if you get 1,000 reams of paper, you get it cheaper than if you buy 5 reams, right? Something like that. So I'm wondering if something like the maintenance men all have a pool like soap and paper towels and mops and toilet paper, all that stuff, and both entities come and get from that pool.
Peter answers. I think to answer your question,
I think purchasing was one of the areas that the report said could be coordinated and seen some savings. It was hard for them to quantify what the savings would be. But paper, reams of paper is obviously one. Custodial item, I don't know how much custodial supplies the town hall buys. We buy, as you can guess, quite a bit. We could certainly do that. We have piggybacked on the town's bid for asphalt and gravel and crushed stone and whatever. So there's a little bit more on purchasing we can do, but we do some already. But your point's well taken. That is one area. There were a couple, but that was one major area that the report said could be some savings with cooperated purchasing efforts.
Pencils and paper
Yeah,
and
right.
pens and stuff. Because that didn't come up last night, I don't think.
No, I think we
As
focused
such.
on the 3, IT, finance, HR.
Yeah,
on
right,
the-
those are the 3 big ones, but
Right.
you get a lot of little things in there, you save money too. Okay.
Peter, isn't the town on our bids like we are with several of their big companies that, we go out for bid for office supplies?
Yes.
That they would be able to use our bid on
They
that?
can either have our bid or a state bid, whichever one they,
So we are doing that now.
little by little, yep.
So they may or may not use it, but like we use their asphalt bid and the stone bid and all that stuff, they're in the same boat on a lot of those issues right now, that they can use our bid to go out to get a better price.
And I think the one that got brought up last night was reaching out to the town, and they want to use the service we just talked about, allowing them to have the students build the computers
Yeah.
for the town, and at least try it 1 year and see if the computer works the way they expect it to. And then there may be $1 savings over there, as well as giving the students more, experience and so forth.
The 2 calls I got were on the minor things, not
Yeah.
the big things, the IT. Thank you.
Thanks, Reed. And before I take a motion, I just want to remind folks that this Friday, which is November 21st, is the rescheduled Warm Homes Bonfire. So that's 5 o'clock over at the Field and Max. And the rain date is the 22nd, but it's not going to rain. It's going to be fine. So come on down, get some cider and hot chocolate, and help out your community. So we'll see you there.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into non-public session on the RSA 91A3, Section 2, A through F.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Aye, Ron Campbell.
All right, George Herman. We are now in non-public session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. See where I was going with